Good evening, all. Welcome to Stark Tales. Tonight, we have some interesting, scary stories for you. So get comfortable and let the darkness take control. Sometimes I doubt the existence of ghosts or supernatural beings, but after my experience, I believe in mysteries. My uncle used to take me along for night hunting whenever I came for the holidays. At midnight, he would wake me, and we would venture out into the darkness together. On this particular night, however, things felt different. We didn't see any animals, so we kept searching until around 2 a.m. Eventually, my uncle suggested we rest under a large, gnarled tree. With him by my side, I felt safe and didn't hesitate to lie down. A few minutes later, I drifted off into a deep sleep, oblivious to the world around me. But around 4 a.m., I was jolted awake by a sensation like grass tickling my neck. Panic gripped me as I opened my eyes. My uncle was gone. I was all alone in that foreboding forest, swallowed by darkness and dim moonlight. Fear enveloped me like a thick fog. I could almost feel it pressing against my skin. In that moment of terror, flashbacks of a horror movie I had watched earlier flooded my mind. Then I heard whispers echoing in my ears. "I will suck your blood." I stood frozen, tears streaming down my face as I cried out in desperation. Suddenly, through the shadows, I saw a figure emerging, cloaked in white garments with hauntingly hollow eyes that seemed to pierce through the darkness. The closer it came, the more my head throbbed, as if it were about to explode. I was paralyzed with fear, unable to move an inch. As the figure advanced, I thought I saw something resembling horns sprouting from its head. My throat tightened. I tried to scream, but no sound emerged. It continued to approach until it reached where I stood and grabbed my hand with an icy grip. In that moment of sheer terror, I fumbled for my flashlight and shone it on the figure, but it vanished into thin air. My heart raced as I turned to flee, desperate to escape the nightmare that had consumed me. That's when I saw my uncle standing behind me, relief flooding through me like a wave. It was only then that I realized I was drenched in sweat, my body trembling uncontrollably. Later, my uncle explained that he had gone in search of an animal and hadn't wanted to wake me while I slept. But from that day forward, I vowed never to go hunting again. The forest had revealed its dark secrets to me. My family moved into an apartment where a murder had been committed prior to us living there. Every night, my elder sister would make me shut our bedroom window, and when I'd look outside, I'd see 3 faces staring back at me. They had no hair, noses, or mouths. They would just stare, but never did anything. A few months back, my family was talking about that apartment, and I mentioned the faces. My sister turned to me, shocked. She said that she saw them too, and that's why she always asked me to close the window. One night, my parents traveled, and I slept in the house alone. I woke up needing to pee and brought my phone to the bathroom. While walking down the hall and texting, I bumped into a girl in a white dress. I didn't look up. I just said, "Sorry," and kept going. It occurred to me moments later that I was home alone, and not in my bustling high school. The next day, when my friend came to pick me up for the movies, he asked why I'd been staring at him through the upstairs window and why I'd changed out of my white dress. But I don't even own a white dress. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the room, I noticed something strange in the reflection of the window. The girl in the white dress stood behind me, her face now closer than before, her hollow eyes piercing through the darkness. I turned around, but she was gone. Just then, my phone buzzed with a message from my sister. "Don't look outside." Confused and terrified, I glanced out the window anyway. There they were, the 3 faces, now closer than ever, their features more defined in the fading light. But what sent chills down my spine was not their expressionless stares. It was the realization that one of them wore a white dress. And as I felt a cold breath on my neck, I understood that some things never truly leave you. They just wait for the right moment. I had always been a skeptic when it came to the supernatural. Ghost stories were just that, stories. But all of that changed the night I found myself standing in front of the old Victorian house on Willow Lane. The locals called it haunted, and I was determined to prove them wrong. As I approached the house, the air grew thick with an unsettling stillness. The paint was peeling, and the windows were darkened by years of neglect. My heart raced, but curiosity pushed me forward. Armed with a flashlight and my phone for recording, I stepped inside. The door creaked ominously as I entered. The interior was just as I expected. Dusty furniture draped in white sheets, cobwebs hanging like curtains in the corners. I chuckled nervously at my own imagination. Just an old house, I muttered to myself. But deep down, a sense of dread began to creep in. I wandered through the rooms, each more dilapidated than the last. In what appeared to be the living room, I noticed a grand piano covered in dust. I approached it, wiping away the grime with my sleeve. As my fingers brushed against the keys, a chilling note echoed through the silence. I jumped back, heart pounding. It was just the wind, I told myself. Just the wind. I continued my exploration, moving to the staircase that spiraled into darkness. Each step creaked under my weight, and I felt as if unseen eyes were watching me from above. At the top of the stairs, a long hallway stretched out before me, lined with doors that seemed to whisper secrets. I hesitated but felt an inexplicable pull toward the first door on my left. As I turned the handle, the door swung open with a groan. Inside was a small bedroom, untouched by time. A child's bed sat in one corner, and on the wall hung a faded picture of a girl with hollow eyes and a sad smile. I shivered as I felt an icy breeze wash over me. The air thickened, and suddenly I could hear soft giggles echoing around me. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. No response came, but the giggles continued, growing louder and more sinister. Panic surged within me as I stumbled back into the hallway, slamming the door behind me. I turned to leave, but froze in terror. At the end of the hallway stood a figure, a woman in a tattered white dress, her face obscured by long, dark hair. She lifted her head slowly, revealing hollow eyes that seemed to pierce through me. My breath caught in my throat as she raised a finger to her lips, shushing me. I bolted down the stairs, nearly tripping over myself in my haste to escape. The front door felt impossibly far away, and as I reached for it, it slammed shut with a deafening bang. My heart raced as I turned to find myself surrounded by shadows that seemed to twist and writhe around me. "Let me out," I screamed, pounding on the door. The shadows closed in, whispering incoherent words that sent chills down my spine. Just when I thought all hope was lost, I remembered my phone. Fumbling in my pocket, I turned on the flashlight and aimed it at the door. The shadows recoiled as if burned by the light, allowing me just enough space to throw myself against the door again. With a desperate shove, it finally gave way, and I stumbled outside into the cool night air. I didn't stop running until I reached my car parked at the end of Willow Lane. My hands shook as I fumbled for my keys, glancing back at the house one last time. The woman stood at the window now, watching me with those hollow eyes as if she were bidding farewell. I drove away that night with a racing heart and a mind filled with terror. The house was haunted, and whatever dwelled within its walls would never let me forget it. From that day forward, I knew that some stories were more than just tales. They were warnings. And some houses held secrets far darker than we could ever imagine.